Hello and welcome to Market Tycoon with me, Kevin Sawyer. Hope you guys and girls are all well and enjoying your day, whatever you're up to. Right, this is not necessarily it is a first look for the channel. I've already had a go on this for a little while actually. I've been enjoying it, so I thought I'd bring it to your attention. I bought it from Steam for about $8.99. As you guys and girls can see, it says early access. This is still an early access game, and I suspect it is a small developer that's making this. I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can find it on the Steam page, for their Steam page, so you can have a look at it for yourself. It's actually quite a lot of fun. Weirdly enough, it can get a bit grindy if you play it excessively. But it's one of those sort of games you can just sort of pick up and play every now and again, and I quite enjoy playing it, so I figured I'd go and play some of it with you guys and show you what it's all about. All I've done, well, I've come in, like I said, I've had a little play on it. I've already actually got one, which is test mode, which I played, and again, it's the pros and cons of this game. I'm going to go through with everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new game for now, just to show you guys what the process is involved. I don't think I'm going to bother going through the tutorial side of it, because I'm going to just kind of cover what the tutorial kind of gives you. All I've done in the options is I've turned the music down off, because I just don't know whether their music's copyrighted or not. But in the options, as you can see, it's the screen resolution, and you got a little VSync and sort of like a bit of like graphical settings, but you don't have sort of advanced or anything else. You've got language controls and obviously audio controls, and once you've picked everything you want to apply, and you're way good to go. Right, so if I go into new game, as you can see, there's a career mode, but it's not currently available at this time of at this point of recording, purely because it's obviously, like I say, it's early access, so they haven't integrated that. But from what I can understand, what I've been reading in their blogs, they are working on a career aspect, so you can sort of like work through the career. That's why I'm just going to do this as more of a let's try rather than as a full let's play. I'll sort of bring updates if I think they warrant it. I may even come back and cover the career side of it at some point in the future. All depends on how long and everything else that happens. But anyway, I digress. So at the moment, all you got is this sandbox mode. So, you know, I'd say a lot of people are probably jump into this straight away anyway. Because the career is going to sort of like hold your hand all the way up. Like I said, I'm babbling on here, so I'll continue. So sandbox, right? You've got two options here. You've got the small market or mini market, and it still says it says small market. It's not a full-blown superstore. Now, I'd still say this is probably about the same size. Looking at dimensions and everything, it's probably going to be about the same size as what we'd call over in the UK a Tesco or an extra store. So you know you've got supermarkets that have, I won't lean towards any specific type, but you've got supermarkets that have the extras or the locals or whatever. It's a slightly bigger than a normal sized corner shop. But it's it's not a full-blown supermarket. So that's what I'd say that was. Same for now in America. Obviously, the building's a lot bigger, so that would probably be the size of one of those. Where this would probably be again roughly the same sort of size as one of those again. Probably even a bit larger. Probably be even, I'd say it'd probably be what I'd call a smaller supermarket in a sense, because they're quite large foothold. But that's just my interpretation. Obviously in America everything's bigger and better and bigger and louder and stronger and all that. Anyway, so I'm gonna start off. Now, as you can see, that I'll go through it all again. You've got like electricity price per kilowatt hour, so 16 per kilowatt hour. So it's obviously $16 or 0.16. I don't know if it's cents or whatever. And then the price per month, the rent per month, obviously is 1,500 per month. Now, remember, you've got to take these into consideration when you actually start this game, because it caught me out several times when I first got into this, and I was just like almost bankrupting myself within the first year, or first 2 years, first 2 to 3 years, and then I was having to take out loan after loan after loan. It was catching me out, and I was just getting deeper and deeper into a hole. Same for this one. Again, look, it jumps up dramatically. It's $3,500 per month, and then as you can see, it's 0.19 per kilowatt hours. And then it's just like, as you can see, it's a service area, free neighbourhoods. So basically, it's where your foot flow is going to come from, because this game doesn't cater towards people driving in. It's catered more towards what I'd call a local sort of shop aspect, where people just walking off the street and grab what they need and go. That's what my impression of the whole thing is. Obviously, a full-blown supermarket would be a car park, yada 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 yada. Again, they might bring this in later on. The developers may bring this in. As you can see, the rent goes up. It gives you a base price, or base amount, which you can start off, but you can just change that by rolling that up to that one's obviously your maximum is 30,000, and if you really want to challenge yourself, you go half that to 15. And as for this one, obviously it's been more expensive, so it's going to give you a bit more money so it's 17 base and 35 top. Now I'm going to go through what plans and sort of things work for me at this time of play, and they may come in and change some of this, so you know, if you're watching this at a later date, the strategy may no longer work for you, but this is what I find works a lot better. But anyway, I'm going to jump in. So I'm going to start off with the small store, just for now, just for the demonstration of this video. Again, if you want to see more, like on the other market, or anything else, guys, don't hesitate. Just let me know. Again, I say I will bring up updates as they come across and they're more interesting and relevant. Right, so would you like to start the tutorial? I'm gonna say no, because I you know, it just basically all it does is it tells you what the controls are. So if I go through that, right, to zoom in and out, if you roll in and roll up and down in the mouse wheel, that zooms you in and out. If you hold down on your middle mouse wheel, that scrolls you right and left. You can, if you want to move, or rotates you right and left. If you want to move the camera with the mouse, you can. If you point up towards the top of the screen, towards the bottom screen, to the left and to the right, it rolls you around. I'm going to pause it here actually because it's ticking by. Like that. Now if you want to change the pitch, I forget what it is actually. I think you have to hold, which one is it? I think, yeah. So again, yeah, hold the middle mouse button, go up, go down, go up, go down, and that's how you change your pitch or your angle. It's a bit finicky, it sometimes doesn't get it, so just, you know, be patient with it. Again, this is early access. Right, okay, so down here is your sort of like different menus. So I'll go into that in a second, but I'll just quickly gloss over what's what. These, I think that's the amount of employees you have currently at the moment. This one on the bottom right here, top right, the gears, that just brings up the options. You can either open or close your shop, or upgrade. The upgrade, you might think, oh great, does that mean I can expand the shop? No, I think basically all you do is it then you then starts you in another shop. I don't know, because I haven't actually tried it yet, what happens if you keep this shop and then both the revenues come together, and whether the shop sort of like all manages itself, or whether it just moves you straight into the other shop. I haven't tried that, I'll be honest. It does come, when you go up to upgrade, it comes up with a warning, Are you sure you want to upgrade? Current market setup will be lost. Oh yeah, so yeah, in a sense it will. It says it won't retain it, it's just going to move you over to the actual other shop. So if you get fed up playing on this, you can upgrade your size. But I'd say is just save it, come out and then start a new game. I don't know if it has options for, well, actually it should have a game for, as long as you name it differently, the game saves will be obviously different, so you can set up 2 different games if you wanted to. Anyway, I digress. Down in the bottom centre here, obviously pause, start, fast forward time. On the top here is your current balance, obviously 30,000. The financial report for the months, so obviously gives you expenses, revenue and total profit, and it obviously gives you whatever the total is towards the end. And obviously it was go from month to month, it come up with different amounts. Bank, this is where you can take out loans. So you can start off with a small loan. You can adjust the amount of months that you want for it before you confirm. Obviously, as you can see, the percentages change on how much you repay, the repayment, because obviously the longer you have the loan, the more money you pay back, if you understand what I mean. It's how typical banks work. The shorter you have the loan, the less money you have. And that more or less covers the centre one. Up here on the top left, this is sort of like what your current customers are feeling. So obviously more goes towards the little red grumpy face, they're not happy, up towards the top smiley face, obviously they're really happy. Here's comments, so we haven't got any at the moment, but it's interesting because you can actually, every now and again, you can sort of like highlight it and bring it up and see what the customers are thinking. And then 9 times out of 10, a lot of it's beyond your control. Like you'll find it's set. You'll find it keeps on going on about the cashiers being too slow. Again, you can try and increase their speed. But it never really helps if you'll see. I'll go through it as I go along. Down here is, like I say, your tools menu. So down here, you can purchase your racks and your tills. So cashiers, obviously tills or checkouts. Again, as you can see, from cheapest, they obviously have per kilowatt, 80 watts. It's per kilowatt hour, whatever they use per kilowatt hour. As you can see, as you go up and they get more fancy, they start using more electricity. They become more reliable. I don't think there's any reliability on. Well, that says 100%, 100%, 100%, and 100%. To be honest, I've never, for the time I've played on this game, I've never seen the tills break down. So I don't think that mechanic's in the game. But obviously the more expensive tills, as you can see, if I try and I'll just pretend to go and buy one. As you see, the more expensive tills have like conveyor belts on it. What I also have noticed with these is the way that they queue up as well. But it's alt control to rotate. So if you press alt or control, it rotates it round for you. And then you simply place. See that little green patch there in the middle? That's just telling you where the customers are going to be standing. It doesn't necessarily tell you which way they're going to be queuing. It just tells you when they come up to it, that's when they're going to be standing to interact with the cashier. What I found with these ones is a bit of a tip. When you go to place them, bearing in mind that they do a weird thing where they sort of like, if I were to place that there, they kind of queue up and up towards that door. So they kind of so as they approach that, they start queuing sort of like towards the back end of the store. So that would be the best place to place it. You can place it I wouldn't suggest placing it right against the wall like that, because again, you'll find that the cashiers can't, they do get in, but they can't get out very easily when you turn the tills off. And there's a bit of a weird quirk with the way the tills work as well, and I'll try and cover that as well. So that sort of like covers that one. The other till, these I've not tried, but I'm assuming they're more or less the same. If we look at it, it's got like a weird sort of conveyor, so I'd sort of, again, place it that way, and then just have an experiment and see how they queue up. If they start queuing up weirdly, you know I'm wrong. I'd say just have a try of it and just try it on a, start off with a till that you know with, and then once try experiment with another till. I said it's a bit glitchy at the moment when it comes to tills, but you just know it once you've worked your way out. This one, I'll buy it now actually, because it's what I'm going to actually put in. This one's the most straightforward one, because obviously well, looking at that red dot, that's the way they're going to be standing. Now, if you have it facing that way, they'll queue towards the back end of the store again. It's just not immediately obvious which way that the queue's going to be forming on each till. You just expect where the green dot is, they'd all queue backwards or wherever, toward back away from it, but they don't. I'm just going to rotate the camera. You can use the WASD keys as well, peeps. I might not have mentioned that, to rotate your camera. Not when you're placing, but when you're just scrolling around on the mouse map itself. Right, so I'm gonna probably place it. I'm not gonna place it. I'm gonna place it in the middle here, just like that. Now it comes up with search for employee, so obviously you have to then click search for an employee. I'll go into that in a second. Right, this is where it's sort of like you need to weigh up what you want to do. I'll go into what things mean. The experience side of things, I don't really think has a factor. I think obviously experience obviously makes them more efficient, more being able to help people, etc., etc. But I don't really think there's much in the game. They might feel happier if they're more experienced, but not necessarily the case. I don't know what sort of mechanics they've built into this game at this present time. But the speed side of it is difficult. It's a bit of a balancing act. As you can see, as you go through different ones, the price per hour, or a salary per month, sorry, changes. And they get a little pop-up. I'll go into that in a second. Price per month changes. So, obviously, the more experienced and faster they are, the more they're going to cost. As you can see, it goes 5, 6, 4, you know. But if we go back to 6, look, they're £900, well, $900 a month. Now it's a bit of a difficult balance. You think that's a lot of money. I might just go for the cheap employee. It's on level 4 or level 3 or whatever, or level 2 like this one. They're only charging $390 a month. It's a difficult balancing act. What you may find is, because they're slower, you're going to have to train them to get faster. I'll go into this, and obviously if you chose a cheap and slow one at the very beginning, you're going to need 2 cashiers, because you can't train them while they're working the tills, which is weird. I don't know why. It seems legit. Technically, if they needed some sort of training, they did go and do it in the office, etc., etc., etc. But again, I'm digressing and just bringing real life aspects into what is potentially just this game. I found, now, you don't have to do this. You know, I'm just using it as a guiding rule. I find get the fastest one is better, long run, and the reason is, if you like, well, that was one reason. Like I say, you have to take them off the till to train them. 2, the training as you increase the training level, it gets more and more expensive. Now, when you get them at higher levels straight away, the initial standard training is cheaper still. It just, as you train them up, for some odd reason it just goes up and goes up and goes up and goes up. But that takes care of the checkout. No one's walking up because we've still got the game paused. If I go through these options here, stock items menu, this is where you can order your goods. I won't do that just yet, but you've got loads. And as you can see, this is pretty much everything which you can get within the shop. To make life easier, there is a search bar. However, when you press search, you need to delete it before researching this new thing. I found it stays on there if you don't. This sort of like has a restock function. That's like a delete option. I don't actually know how that actually works. I think you have to click on the... yeah, so if you've got something stocked and you want to change it, that's actually a good learning curve for me, actually, because I was finding this the other night. I was placing things, I didn't want to place them in the right place. So if you want to restock, you just press restock from there, and it should restock us. If you want a certain item restocked, you just click on that and then click on the item you want to get restocked. There is another way you can get around it as well. I'll go into that, and if you want to delete an item, you just press that. And if you want to move an item that you've placed down, you can use that. You click on it and then it'll just move it. That covers like the menu sort of side of things. You'll see me using it. These categories, obviously, this is standard shelving. So if you click this, it should narrow the search field down a little bit. So things that can be stored in both fridges or I call dry goods on shelves. Then it shows you what they're here. I'll give a breakdown on this one just to grab one at random. It gives you what its shelf life would be if it was just stored on a dry shelf. So it's 7 days. If you put it in the fridge, it goes up to 2 weeks. Now, I found it a bit difficult trying to get these into fridge. I haven't tried all the fridges in the game, but the fridges I tried, some of the fruit and veg just didn't want to go in. And freezers, obviously, you would never freeze a tomato. You just wouldn't do it. You'd chill it, you wouldn't freeze it. You destroy it trying. If we go to the toothpaste, it's just the final leap over. This is another good example. It's dry goods. Toothpaste shelf life 2 years. That sounds about right, actually. You won't want it kicking around on the shelf for any longer than that. You can't put it in a chiller. Well, you could, but it probably wouldn't benefit in any way. You'll just get cold toothpaste. And if you put it in the freezer, it probably destroy the packaging. Same goes for tuna. You can put it on a shelf. Again, you could, once you've opened it, then put it in the fridge. But I wouldn't want to freeze it. Same for, obviously, vegetable oil. You wouldn't want to put that. It's oil. You don't want to put oil in the fridge. Wine, you can technically chill. I don't know why it doesn't give you the option. You won't want to freeze it, but you can technically chill that. But it gives you a shelf life for 2 years, so it doesn't matter. Watermelon, again, gives you an idea. And again, it's all, if you look at them, gives you a shelf life. And I don't know how much it does come up with this food is expiring soon, but then you don't see the food going rotten, and then they either throwing the food away or people not buying it. I've found it where people gets less popular when there's only 1 or 2 left, so you have to restock it, and then that solves everything. Again, I digress. That covers that. Right, this is the item prices. Now I'll go into that in a minute once we start placing items down or goods down. I'll go into that, why that is important. You sort of get your head around this from the beginning of the game, because if you don't, this is where you're going to start. And it seems crazy that they don't have like a an option to sort of like auto manage this, so as you get more stuff in, it evaluates the sort of your expenditure, and then the price changes prices accordingly, obviously staying competitive, but yeah, still making some sort of a profit. And at the moment, at the time of recording, it doesn't matter whether you have the percentages set to, I've been toying about with them, and I set them at 50%, believe it or not, in order just to make some sort of profit. The customers don't seem to complain about it at the time of the moment. Today's one, I'm gonna set them at 100%. But again, it's play about with it, see what works best for you guys. Right, well, that's covered. Right, again, this is the expiry report. As you buy things, and I'll come across this again, I'll just briefly show you again. It'll show you items that are going to expire soon. Now, it doesn't tell you what happens to them once they've expired. It doesn't say you need to go and, you need to go and chuck this away or anything, or like that, or people, this is rotten, you need to get rid of it. It just goes, this is expiring soon. This one, it's obviously, again, it's giving you a sort of like a rundown of how many you've sold, the value of them, etc, etc, and it's just giving you a little mini sort of like breakdown of like the statistics, how many are sold, what is popular, what's not so popular. So you can change your layout as you go. This one's announcements. That's just marketing. So you can just, if you want to advertise your business, if you find you're not getting as many shoppers as you'd like, you can choose an avenue to go down. If I just grab the cheapest, not necessarily the best sort of advertising, as you can see, as you go up for the weeks, it increases more and more. The radio being one of the cheaper ones, internet's been probably the cheapest to go through. But then you can adjust it accordingly. TV being quite expensive. Look, just for 1 week, that's how much you're paying for just 1 week's worth. And then again, again, have a toy about with it and just see which one works better. I don't think one benefits more than the other, to be honest. I just find is if you are getting any of them will work, you will find your foot flow gets a bit more as you advertise. Right, now this one, paint, I'll go into how this works in a bit, and once we've sorted all up, but it's pretty much self-explanatory. Floor paint and wall paint. So we're currently on wall, so if you select the colour you want and then just go up against the wall and then just right click to paint, and then deduct how much off, and then if you want to come back out of that, just press exit. Again, if we go into floor, you can see the floor comes up and there's a nice little, if you hold control, it gives you a nice bigger square to work with, which is handy little feature to have. Right, manage employees. So here, like I was saying to you earlier, you can hire or manage your actual employees here. Now she's a cashier at the moment, and if I were to go and train her speed, look at her training costs is only that much. Now when I was playing this off screen, I'd trained some up to this level 5.5, and in order to get into level 5.6, it was like something like plus 70 grand. So that's why I'm saying it's better to get the more faster colleagues straight off the bat, rather than the cheaper ones, than having to train them up only to realise that they're not. In order to get them really fast, you're going to have to spend exorbitant amounts of money. So again, it's a bit of a fine balance, as I say. But you can hire more workers. You can hire a stock assistant from here as well. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to search for a stock assistant and get that going. I'm sorry if I've waffled on. I'm just trying to cover everything up at the same time. So speed 7. Speed 8. But again, it's quite expensive per month, and it won't let me hire them, weirdly enough. I don't know why. has again this glitch where it won't let you hire them. If you come back out and then go back in, sometimes it works. Hire a stock assistant. I see there's number, it says number of employees allowed as well, 1 out of 4. I guess you can only have so many once you've reached that cap. That's it. Again, it won't let me pick them. It might be because I haven't done the next step yet, so we'll come back into that in a sec. The next thing you need to worry about is your goods in. Now, typically in the UK, obviously the lorry just turns up and good to go. In the States, obviously, again, they typically have a lorry turn up, but obviously the lorry charges them depending, because the couriers or whatever. Again, depending on the chains and how big or small there are. Some small shops, like in the UK, and both in the UK and the States, which I think this is heavily based upon judging just the way it's set out. This is based in the States rather than in the UK. Obviously, the smaller retailers would go to a cash and carry or co-op or whatever to sort of buy their goods, and they're going to do that themselves. They're going to drive over there and get it. So this is the thing. So in order to buy a vehicle, just click I'll show you that again. Just click anywhere on these bays, and then it should come up with the option. Now again, this is one of those fine balancing things where, am I better off going cheap and saving some money, or am I better off going a bit bigger and not worrying along? Now that's quite a big lot of money. Look, that's 32 grand there. So that's going to leave, one, we can't afford that. Two, it's going to leave you, if you could afford it, it's going to leave you very, very poor for the rest of the shop setup. I find that this is quite a good balance between the two. It's got 18. It's 18 per trip, so it costs how much it costs you per trip, and it's 18 goods it can hold. If we go down to the smaller, it's a 7, 9, and then 8, 13, and obviously the big one can carry 48 goods. Now again, if you get to a point where you want to upgrade it, you can sell it once you bought it, and then you won't get as much money back for it. But I find if you just buy, again, just go, you don't have to use that as a guide. I just find that's the better option. See, even that one's been quite expensive undertaking so far. Right. If I go that one here, that's the event discount. Now, once you've got items in, you can apply little discounts, and then once you've applied them, it gives you a discount on a certain item or said items, and you can make up a list of items you want to just put discounts. Try to encourage shoppers to come in, buy them discounts, hopefully buy something else at the same time. But anyway, what I'm going to do, I've yabbered on long enough. I'm going to go into racking. Now again, racks, obviously just different types of racks. Fridge, again, different types of fridge. Bear in mind, obviously, cheap, so this is only 400 quid, but look at, you find its reliability is not so great. That isn't very good either. And you find that certain fridges only take certain things as well. Same with the freezers. You might find yourself thinking, right, I need at least one of each to carry certain items. Again, it's a guess players playing around. Bear in mind, obviously, the higher the wattage, the more electricity it's going to use up. The more electricity it's going to use up, the more you're going to be paying out per month. As for racks, obviously, as you may or may not see there, you can see there's obviously difference between the sizes. I typically use these ones or them ones, again if I'm feeling posh, to buy to put my fruit and veg in. again, you can put them into some of the freezers. I'll show you if you go back into the items menu. So it says like an apple. It says you can't. But then if you put it into a fridge, it chills it. You'll find it, and it gives you a longer shelf life. Anything like that, it's a bit of a hit and miss one. I just do, if you're thinking about stocking something, just weigh it up as you go. Anyway, let's bring up the racking. Again, you can go mad, but obviously the more money you spend on racking, the less money you're going to have for goods, and the more expenditure. So all these, pretty much, they don't use any electricity because they're just rack, and they're 100% reliable. In real life, then they can get bent, they can rust really well, they can rust over time, etc, etc. They just get old and worn out, like anything in life. Again, personal preference, but obviously look at these ones, these fancy dancy ones with colour changer. You can changes the colour of the little end strips, or the POS strips, or the label strips, whatever you want to call them. And then it's up to you, personal preference. I just find cheap is better in this case. You know, you might not like the look of it, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, oops, press the wrong button. It will Windows key will tab it round, but then you'll find yourself coming out of your computer or coming out of the game picture. So again, tab it round, so then you've got the spot in front doesn't matter too much, obviously, as long as they can reach it and it's not obstructing or obstructed by anything. Now here you can duplicate this, so it just saves you a bit of time. Again, if you press duplicate, if you want to build several of them, I find this is the easiest way, just doing this and then duplicate. Each one obviously is costing you the same again. Duplicate. Duplicate. I'll go into the other options of that in a minute. Right. This, obviously, it should tell you what it does. This top one's restock all. So if you just want to restock the whole thing, you don't want to faff about with certain aspects of the shelf, you can just restock all. There's little options I'll go into in a sec, which can sort of like make your life a lot easier. Obviously that's move it, and this middle one's duplicate, and that one's sell it. And that's the options you've got: duplicate, move the shelf, etc, etc, etc. Right. So I'm just gonna, again, don't want to go overly mad on racks, because I've got to save some money for sort of like expenditures and everything else. So let's grab that, buy that, and again you can start duplicating if you want. This is pretty much the same layout I had on my test screen. In fact, I'll leave that there because I might put two of them there. Actually, I'm going to put two of them there because that looks better. Again, this is where your little artistic flair and your OCD kicks in. Oops. You think that doesn't look right, that doesn't look right. You become literally a little mini manager, which is my worst nightmare. Anyway, so again, I'm just going to duplicate because I'm late. It just saves time having to. In fact, I probably placed them a bit too close to one another. So I have, look, there's no way I can get any more in. I can get one like that, nicely, but I can't put any more in like that because it's in the way of everything else. So I'm going to leave that as that, just because I want to try and keep some space there. Although it doesn't really matter because I don't think the MCPs or the people in the game tend to try and avoid each other, as you'll see. yet. They just walk through each other. Right, so we've got a basis starting out. I'm not going to bother with fridges just yet. I just want to just get some of these bits and pieces out of the way. Right, again, this is where you can either plan your store out. There's no personal preference in how you want to do it. You can plan it out however you like. Just to make sure that I'd say just make sure you've got plenty of space between the aisles. I'm going to put another set of racking along here at some point. You could technically put a set of racking in the middle there because there's room for it. You just might find negotiating the shelves a bit hard, and especially in this thing. Just bear that in mind. You can rotate, but you just might find yourself trying to look over things all the time. But anyway, let's show you what the next bit is involved, because I've been waffling on long enough. Right, so how to stock shelves, or how to set up shelves for the first time. Right, so obviously dry goods, we want to go... I'm going to come back out there. You want to... Obviously, you don't have to... You can do it any which way you like. Whatever your personal preference is. Typically in retail, they tend to have it in set categories. So they have it as confectionery... cooking sauces, drinks, etc, etc. They all have their own dedicated aisles, but because we don't have miles and miles of room, we're going to have to move things in. Well, they can do it as bay format, so the bay technically counts as that general aisle. So that's how I'm doing it for the time being. So I'm going to go for snacks first of all, and then obviously buy some barbecue chips. You'll see. Now it says something about right and left there. I've tried that. It doesn't. I don't understand what it means by that, to be honest. I couldn't highlight or make it highlight more or less, because it says right or left arrows. But I do that. I press the right and left. Right and left arrows to change the quantity of the item, and it doesn't do anything on this aspect. I suspect at some point they might change that so it gives you more or less on there, so you can put it on a smaller shelf, but I found it doesn't do anything. The developer have to let me know what I'm doing wrong. This is where I struggle, because I forget what things I got. So I got barbecue chips, I got them cheese chips. Chocolate chips, again you'd put them with biscuits, but again you might not have enough biscuits on this game. We find that there's less. You can always, again, it's just a game, you can just do it however you feel, because the positioning on some of this, salt and pepper, you see, salt and pepper crisps. Sorry if I've just bashed the mic. Salt and pepper. Again, you can go more crisps. There's no hard and fast rule to what you can. Well, there is. You'll find that popularity of items increases and decreases over time. See, now I'm going to sort of organise their chocolate chips. I wouldn't count them as a crisp. I'd count them more as a biscuit, but and sort of cookies. There is another kind of cookie as well. Cookie with wheat. Just keep an eye on what you're spending as well, because as you're spending more, and especially if you've got it paused like I have, you could be running into problems. I find, like I said, there's no hard and fast rule to this. I just find this is the better way of starting out in this game. Just placing everything down you want. Salt crackers. Go on, we'll go have some of them. But I don't think, and again, someone would say in marketing there is a hard and fast rule where you place things an eye line is where you would want the items to sell the most, and it makes there is a sort of like a psychological approach which the marketers tend to approach the items. They tend to put the bigger bits at the bottom because you can see them on the bottom, smaller easier bits eye level, and again top, so it's sort of like, again, not heavy items but smaller items towards the top, and it's still easily visible. That almost covers everything, I think. And then go back up through the list, and then just grab what I deem necessary for the time being. Anything with a long shelf life is good, preferable. So again, baby milk, I find that quite popular, and it's got a long shelf life. Again, you'd want to put that tin stuff with tin stuff. Again, ideally, but just to squeeze it in. Bacon's obviously off the question because we haven't got a fridge yet. Beer, you can stack it again on dry shelves. Same butter, you can, but you can't. No, butter melts. Canned beans. What I'm going to try and find, is it powdered milk? I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll go through this bit off screen just so it saves a bit of time, and then I'll come back once I've got to that point where I'm happy with everything's shelved, stocked up, just to save time because I've waffled on a bit, and you don't really want me to see me setting this all up, so I'll literally be right back. Hello guys, welcome back. As you can see, I've gone through pretty much all the shelves, put my little layout. Now as you see it build up, you can a merchandise manager would probably go nuts at my layout, to be honest. I confess I'm not a merchandise manager. I just fill shelves in my job, so that's and drive forklift trucks. That's all I particularly do. I make sure the gaps are filled and the goods come in. That's the things I worry about. And then on the odd occasion when they give me the labels to change, I do label changes as well. But anyway, as you can see, I've got it all. It's not all filled up yet. It's all just all placed. So now, like I was saying to you earlier about pricing, now where is it? It's this one, isn't it? We're going to the pricing now. You can see my list is set to what you want to adjust it. Now you can leave it as is, but like I said to you earlier, if you leave them as is, you are making a bit of a profit, but it's not enough of a profit to really. I find I don't know. Well, it's almost like cobbling coins together, or nickel, as Mary say in the States, nickel and diming your way through the month, and you soon find, especially when you start getting freezers in or fridges in, you're losing money. So I just, for experimentation, my test game I set it to about 40%, but I'm going to set them all to 100%. I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? It's not competitive at all. This could go wrong. This is just literally me trying out, see what the boundaries of this game is. And if the developers are listening, put some, if you want to comment down below to what you're working on, what things you want to change, etc, 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 then please do. I doubt they're listening, but if they are, then please, throw in a comment. If you liked it or hated it or whatever as well, you can be honest and straightforward. But this is, again, I'm going through this and I'm going to go through all these and I'm going to make them 100%. I suspect, this is what my mind will say, there's two theories going on in my mind at the moment, or two scenarios that could potentially happen from this. One, no one's going to come in at all because everything's too expensive. Then I'm going to go bankrupt. Or they're going to come in and buy the only things that they need, the bare essentials, because they just can't for some reason get to their local shop because it's shut, or their supermarket because it's shut, or they can't travel, or they just don't have the time to travel, etc, etc, etc. So they might just come in and buy one item. I don't know. It might decrease its popularity as well. That could be a factor. I don't know. I'm just guessing, because this is how I found it. Getting it, I'd say a minimum of 40% on your goods upwards, just to break even. Try at 50 or 45 and then see how that works. But I'm just going to go crazy. I'm going to go, it's like a case of going big or going home. I'm just going to go make everything up as 100% profit. Or mark it up by 100%. Because typically, as I'm doing this, just so you guys don't get bored and not explain, what retailers do, as obviously they have understandings between manufacturers or dealers or suppliers, and they're buying it in bulk. Unlike us, we'd only come along buy one of something, two of something, whatever, unless it's like sand or something like that, or gravel or whatever. Need a bulk quantity of it. Typically, like the for where I work, I still call it Mix It. It's now the supplier's called Tarmac. It was Hanson's for a while, but then it went to Tarmac again, because they were competitively cheaper on their rates, and obviously that's where retailers tend to supply to them. To head office tend to sort of evaluate suppliers and who can do what for what price, and then for their competitive. But typically the stuff we get, like cements, because I work in a well-known DIY retailer. I won't say the name, but I work in a well-known DIY retailer, building supplier. Typically on stuff like that, they sell it at cost, so we make no money on that actually. When they put offers on it, like buy 5 and save or whatever, or 3 for the price of 2, or 4 for the 3, or whatever, buy 1 get 1 free. In buy 1 get 1 free aspects, they typically raise the price of it to cover the cost, but that's another thing. But with stuff like that, with sand and stuff, we're getting it at cost. Any offers we get or make on that, we potentially as a company making a potential loss. However, what they're thinking is if they come in to buy 5 bags of sand or whatever, they might need a spade or something else to do the work with. So they make up any costs that they lost on that product with the other product. That's their thinking. That's the best way of me explaining it as well. Right, it's looking a bit bleak, I admit. I haven't got any freezers in. My plan would be to extend some of the more racking along here so we can get some more items in. But I want to just leave it at $3,000 for the time being, just as a safety barrier. And everything else. Now that the price is sorted out, now for stock, I find this is not necessarily the best way to go, but this is how I find it better to work with. Now, if you click on the shelf, on any of the shelf, it'll come up with what's on the shelf, and you can either move it, duplicate it. It does duplicate the shelf, it won't duplicate the stock, by the way, or you can sell it, but it will obviously sell the items. Well, it'll destroy items on the shelf, so make sure you clear your shelves before selling them. As for moving, I don't know if it moves the items or not with alongside. I haven't tried that. For this, as you can see, there's a option here for restocking, auto restocking. That's default is turned off. I find auto restock when empty is a good option. Not necessarily the best option, especially if you get OCD towards it, like I sometimes do, where you find the shelf looks a bit bare, and managers don't like bare shelves. And again, it's a psychological thing. People seeing a bare shelf think that store's in trouble, or it's badly managed, etc, etc, etc. It happens in retail. It can happen. Unfortunately, you run out of stock. It's just one of those things. You can adjust it so you can have it so it's that much remaining, that much remaining, that half remaining, or that much remaining. You know, so it'll sell, say, half of the shelf, and then it goes, oh, it's time to restock, and it'll highlight it. You'll see that as I go through. I just find it this way the better option, just having it when it's empty, because that way you won't run up against the whole expiry date thing so much, because they'll sell all the goods on the shelf. It might not necessarily look cosmetically good, but you find you won't potentially have so much stock going out of date because you've sold it all, hopefully within the time it expires. But like, again, just go through them all, set them up before you start working on the game, or when you've just set up a new set of racking, like whatever, if you're extending your existing racking, do that all first. You can pause it, by all means, do so. But if you want to, if as I say, is you just set up a new racking, just make sure this is all up and away, because it's very easy to forget that. Once you've got it set up, and you think, oh great, go and get the dude to go and fill the stock, and then you forget about it, and then you run out, and then you can just restock. There is a way of just restocking. But I just find if you get it nailed down right at the beginning, you don't have to worry about it so much anymore. You can micromanage, as I call it. You don't have to micromanage everything. You can just manage things as and when you need to. So empty, empty, empty. Again, it's a bit repetitive, sorry guys. And again, I am waffling on. But I want to try and sort of, like, if you guys are interested in buying this game, and I would suggest buying it at the price it is at the moment. Okay, it's not, you know, graphically the beautifulest game in the world. It's a bit rough around the edges, and there's some things that make you laugh, which I'll go through in a minute. At it. That's already good to go, right? So let's press play. And now everything's up and running. I'm going to just keep it real speed for now, because I need to wait till the van turns up. I'll show you what to do once the van turns up, because it will turn up. They're driving over here. For you guys, if you're wondering, I might have mentioned it earlier, this does have music in this game. This isn't the game's music, by the way. This is my own YouTube playlist. I just don't know whether it's has any copyright for it, so I just decided to turn it off. It may be fine, it may not be. Right, so I'm going to send the van out. I know the van's not going to make it all of those goods all straight away, but that's not a problem. He'll get whatever, however many he'll start off with. You're going to need to send out the van repetitively, and you know, at the marketing side of point of view, you'd really ideally want more runs per go, if you understand what I mean. So you'd want to make sure the van's fully loaded before sending it out, or going to be fully loaded before sending it out, because if you send it out just to go and get one lot of apples, or one lot of tin goods or whatever, you're gonna be like wasting an amount of money, because it's always the same price no matter if the van's fully loaded or if it's only partly loaded. So I'd just say, just, you know, if you've got running out of something, just go look, cruise around your store, see if there's anything else you're looking at maybe also out of stock, and just holding up before reordering, just 'cause it helps minimise on costs. Now he's turned up. The other dude should be, as long as I make sure I definitely hired him, working that. No, I didn't. Oh yeah, right. So we didn't hire a stock assistant, so just make sure that was Yeah, hire stock assistant. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna go for the more expensive option, the fastest, speediest option. You'll see, and again, like I covered earlier, it's, some people would say that's probably not the best way to go, but it saves you money in the long run, if you know what I mean. They're already quite quick. You don't have to worry too much about their training as such. You can leave their training off until a point where you're getting quite good at the stock side of things. So I'm going to send the van back off again, because I know the van's going to probably need to. What you find, if the van doesn't need to go anywhere, that little yellow send van turns red, so it means it doesn't necessarily need sending out. One thing I might not have covered in the management side of things, employment, I think it's in here. Yeah, in the, obviously that's the general view. I may have not covered this. You can change their uniform. At present time of recording, the developers may change this. It only doesn't seem to stay the same. What you find, what I found, is when you save the game to come back out, when you go back into the game again, it's probably not, no, it's not right near the same colour, but again, I'm just using this demonstration. You might find it goes back to the default, and it's a bit annoying. I was going to sort of like raise it as a bug, but again, it's one of those small things which you don't necessarily need to worry about. I think I'm not really worried about it because, again, it's early access, and it's again, it's not, again, proper retailers would obviously have a matching uniform for everyone. There's no apply button either, so you just have to come out and just hope that works. As you can see, it hasn't changed the cashier, but it will change them. They will change if you send the cashier away and come back again. You'll find that they get changed into the new uniform. So don't worry if you're thinking, oh, it's not worked. Every time they go out of screen and come back in, they've changed into the new colour uniform. Now it's probably flagging up a load of messages like, you don't, you know, this one, like this one here, you've ordered items but you haven't sent the van out to get the item. Yeah, no, I know that because I was ordering the items beforehand. I'm going to send the van out again because I suspect it's probably not got everything. But as you can see, he's already starting to fill the shelves. And he's got a weird way of filling shelves as well. You'll see it in a minute. And you see everyone does the same thing. It's a bit like, was it Invasion of the Body Snatchers? He's like, points. It's, you know, I can understand where the developer was going with that. It's the mimicking throwing stuff onto the shelf. They can't obviously show them holding the item and put it in. It just points it and throws it in. And the state of the facing or dressing, as some people call it, is a bit mixed. As you can see, look, the canned milk down there, the baby milk, that's not great. But look at the tin stuff. It looks beautiful. You know, I don't think anyone. Well, that'd take you hours to get to you'd have to give it a real detailed face to get it, to get it to that. But look, you see the tins of coffee all over the place. The labels ain't facing towards the front. It just, you know. Again, it's a small thing. I'm not worried about it. Typically, people can see what it is from a distance. You see that where the customer just barged past him, you will get that as well. Because they just don't avoid each other. They just push the poor old... They do it in real life as well. I found it. A customer just comes along and rams their trolley into your legs and just says, "Oh, sorry, mate, just trying to get past." And it's like, well, yeah, if you just said, "Excuse me, mate," I would have got out your way. But that's another issue. See, it's going good. We've got a lot of work to do. I don't know if I should send the van out again. See, it's now it looks greyed out. So it's everything that's needed is collected. So we don't need to send the van out anymore for the time being until the stock starts running low. And like I said, this is where you preemptivize yourself. What I'll do is I'll do a bit of advertising initially, just to show you guys how it all works. I'm gonna go direct mail, just because, and I'll do that not for 6 weeks. I'll do it for 2 weeks. Confirm. I'll do a bit of, again, I don't think has any real bearing. I'll do a bit of radio advertising as well, because typically that's what's gonna be. Oh, I didn't realise there was a store there. Now, again, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to start doing this. You don't necessarily have to do this. I don't think there is any mechanic in the game for whether the store looks pretty or not. I'm not 100% sure how much they put into the mechanics of people's thought processes on this game, to be honest with you. What you'll find, a lot of the comments are the same. They're saying, "Oh, I like this store," or "This store does not have," or "The cashier is too slow," or "I like this store," "I don't like this store, I would not recommend," and stuff like that. They don't go into reasons why. They just, the ones that are positive, some they say, "Yeah, see, now he's just given us a good comment there, so I like this market, I recommend it to others." Good, which means he'll now go and tell his mates, and his mates will go, "Oh, I didn't realise that shop was there. Yeah, I could do with some of this, I could do with some of that, I'll pop down and grab some of that," and stuff like that. In theory, I don't know if that is really the practice. You know, see, another good comment there. And again, I don't know how much of a factor that has with aspects and mechanics of the game. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go really nuts. I'm going to just demonstrate to you guys. I'm going to go floor first. I'm going to keep it nice and light. How does that look? So control. Oops. That doesn't look too bad, actually. Why is it not? Hold control. Oh, hang on. Yep, control. Ah, we go. Like that. Oops. There we go. And then for the paint, walls, again, not strictly necessary. I'm gonna just go for that colour. We'll see how that actually looks. It looks dreadful, actually. Again, you don't necessarily need to do this. You can leave this. In the other store, it's already pre-painted. It looks quite fancy, actually. I don't know if it has an effect on the rent thing, because technically you're doing all the work yourself. Yeah, it's matching, colour matching, I know. But it gives it a nice light and airy feel to it. That I find, if developers are listening, I can understand why they've done it, as it pops in and out of shot as you're panning the mouse around. But I wish they'd just give you an option so you can raise or lower the walls. Then you would be fine. If you wanted the walls to obstruct you, you could. If you don't want the walls to obstruct you, then you can put the intermediate, what I call intermediate, done. It looks a bit samey, but so basically that is the nitty gritty. Now the dude has come in and out and just keep refilling the shelves. She'll do what she's doing on the tills. And you'll find you'll get little busy rushes where loads of people come in at once, stuff like that. But you're still getting people buying stuff. Look, now you see, I find that's probably good, because then if no one was coming in, I'd be worried. But people are still coming in and they're buying multiple items as well. So, and I haven't come across yet, at time of recording, people saying everything in this shop is way too expensive. It may change in the future, it may not. But I just find, to start off, I'd say start at 45 to 50% if you're really concerned about it, and then just twig it. But I just find the better option is just to start off with some percentage, then nothing at all, because you'll just find yourself broke within about 2 or 3 years. Within about 2 years, I bankrupted one of them pretty much. I was like so much in debt. There was just no way out. I was just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some more racking. Again, just go cheap and nasty for now. And I'm going to put it on this side. And then I'm just going to work things out as I go. So what I want to do, I'm going to try and make this a non-food side. So it's going to be in others. Tissue box. So again, in real life, there is a thing where you shouldn't have, called cross-contamination. You should never put non-food next to food items. So you wouldn't put dog food right next to bread or anything else, because there could potentially be a cross-contamination. It's in theory of things, but I don't know how relevant it is. Again, you could put that at the bottom, but theoretically it's a small box, so you'd want to put it eye level. See, there's the soap. I'm just going to go regular soap bar for now. And then, if I can find it, small bags of detergent. It's all alphabetically sorted for you. So, but in some cases you might find it's just a bit difficult because they've got a different pronunciation for it or whatever. I find if you just want to reset your list and just click on that, and then that brings up everything again, rather than specifically generalizes it. That helps. So I've got some of them I know I have, and that's again a food item. What I'm looking for is non-food items, ideally, just to try and keep it all within that bay. See, large detergent. So I'm going to buy that and put that towards the bottom. Now I'm going to go back in. Now I've bought them items and change the price of them. This is where it gets a bit tricky, because you have to look through all the items. You can put the name in on the top here. I just find just glancing through, making sure. It doesn't matter if you miss them, because you'd be making a bit of loss on certain things anyway. But I just find maximising on your profit, any potential profit, is the best thing. So again, it's a bit of a, here we go, that's handy. So if I just stick that up to 100%, stick that up to 100%, stick that up to 100%, Actually, it looks like it does it in order of when you purchased it. So it should, by looking at that, rather than being alphabetical, it's whenever you purchased it. So roll down towards the bottom of the screen if it's a new item. You might find it's there. My top tip for the day. Right, so I'm going to duplicate the shelf again. Oh, and again, like, I almost forgot to tell myself to do that. Almost forgot again. Just make sure it's all on auto stack. Now duplicate the shelf, or whatever you want to do. Stick it next to it. So we've got soap. I'm looking for more non-food items, but it don't necessarily have to stay to my ruling. Again, it doesn't matter. It's only a game. I could put condiments in, I guess, but again, I'm just looking for soap. See, you've got soap bar, soap mint, soap orange. So again, I'm just giving the customers a bit of variety. So I'm going to put this bars of soap on. I'm just work at the top and work my way down. I don't think, again, it wouldn't be real life. Again, if it's too high and too small, they wouldn't be able to reach it. Is that soap orange or soap mint? I'll just put there. Again, if you forget, just highlight it. Soap mint. Soap orange. I don't see why someone would want to, but you know, that happens in real life. They do have various different choices. Soap orange. Soap strawberry. Some might want to smell like strawberry. I think there's a small detergent somewhere. Spam, no, again. Oh, and just put small in. Aha, there we go. See, I told you I missed it. So I'm going to throw that. Let's make sure I haven't got it already. No, that's large, that's small there. Cool. Right, and again, auto stock, auto stock, auto stock, auto stock, and then obviously go into your prices again. Scroll down, there should already be at the bottom, which it is. Set that up to whatever you want. Don't have to go to 100% like me. Be a greedy so and so. But again, this is just something I'm trying. Because you can see, look, it's already, the amount of money is already trickling down. Each time I order something, each time I buy racking, you're going to find yourself running out of money really quick in this game. And then you'll think, okay, I've got $300 left, but it doesn't matter. We get that back within the month. And then you find you don't, and then you're minus. I might even end up in that situation myself. Let's send that guy off, and he'll go and get all the items, hopefully. And I'm going to speed up the time as well to see how things pan out this first year. See, at the moment, the first month I've made a loss, but I know that because I was spending money. Both those 2 months I spent spent it on stuff. Again, these comments will come up saying about you're out of stock, etc. You can just delete, click on it and it'll go away. I just find if you clear it out every now and again, it just helps. So otherwise you'll find yourself a barrage of loads of messages. Customers, again, majority, yeah, see what I mean about the cashier being too slow. Now, you're going to get that. And I don't think there's no way you can get around that other than buying another till. And I just don't think the shop warrants another 2 tills. I think 1 till's enough. And you get that in real life. People think that they're slow. See, that guy's doing his funky thing. He's stocking up the shelves. But even with the 100%, I still say it's a bit like rubbing your coins together or nickel and diming your way through the game. It's just a case of managing it just right, just so then you make enough of a profit and not going too nuts, like over shelves being empty like this. That initially in the game drove me nuts, but then I was thinking, hang on, I'm just sending the van out just to go and get some crisps. It would drive the manager nuts as well, seeing an empty shelf. But realistically, shops do run out of stock. Thankfully, isn't it? As a retail worker, I know that for a fact. Mediate the factors, people change mood and everything. But I digress. Anyway, I didn't mention this. Right, here we go. So it gives you, every now and again you'll see that these little challenges pop up, and then it gives you little rewards once you've done that challenge. So it was served 50 customers, which we've done. So we collect the money, and that helps. Look, that's boosted me up right away. You don't always get them though; they just randomly pop up. Normally, when you start to run out of money, normally they pop up, but they can do when you're doing well as well. We'll send there's nothing else highlighted, I don't think. But there is, but I don't know see if the van needs to be sent out at all. And I'll leave it at that. Well, send it out anyway. There's no harm. Just making sure. Again, we're still sort of like getting the nitty gritty of this game. Of setting up. You're going to find this for the first year or so. It's just balancing act, just micromanaging or generally managing throughout here and everywhere. But I'll leave it at that, guys and girls. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did and found it helpful, if you did, again, guys and girls, please feel free to like. If you didn't enjoy it for any reason, I know I did waffle on for a while. If you didn't enjoy it for any reason, again, guys and girls, please feel free to dislike. Leave a comment either way if you liked it or didn't like it. I don't mind. If you might know someone else that may also enjoy watching this, again, or find it helpful, again, guys and girls, please feel free to share. Helps me out a lot, and I don't mind you sharing. And if you're new to my channel and see future sort of like first looks like this, or let's plays like this, or for future games, or anything else that I'm working on, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so then you're notified as soon as I upload a new video. I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.